Welcome back. When we last left off, Albert had slain the queen bee and obtained the hornet staff. He also ventured deep into the snow and fought Deerclops, unlocking his first century weapon, Houndius Shootius. With some major gear upgrades, Albert was ready to take on the next threat. You see, the world had been infected by an unknown purple plague called the Corruption. The Corruption swallowed everything in its path as it spread across the world. Albert knew that the threat would need to be stopped if he had any hope at returning home. Albert was not only on a grand adventure, he was also on a quest. Albert was asked by some close friends in another realm to look out for an old and ancient evil. They told Albert that one of their realm's merchants was lost, traveling to Albert's world, and they needed Albert to find and defend the crystal he was holding. Albert had a lot on his plate, but he was hungry for more. Albert was familiar with the corruption. He knew quelling its spread would not be easy, but he had to start somewhere. Albert journeyed deep into the corruption caves in search of magical orbs. He surveyed the area and found the perfect location for battle. Albert was here to destroy these orbs, but of course the corruption would not let that happen without a fight. Once Albert destroyed 3 orbs, the Eater of Worlds would come out seeking vengeance. Albert prepared the area for battle. With a quick detonation, a bomb had destroyed the last orb, beginning the fight. Albert defeated the Eater of Worlds rather easily. He was equipped with full bee armor, quick frostbark boots, a menacing cloud in a bottle, a warding hive pack, an anklet of the wind, warding feral claws, and a warding shield of Cthulhu. The Eater of Worlds gifted Albert with a new relic. A nice worm scarf, which greatly reduced his damage taken, and, most importantly, a handful of scales which Albert crafted into the Nightmare Pickaxe. With this new pickaxe, Albert quickly headed to the underworld to harvest some hellstone. Once he had enough, he was able to craft a molten pickaxe, and his most important summon weapon to date, the Imp Staff. With the Imp Staff in hand, Albert was more powerful than he had ever been. He even managed to fashion some of the scales into obsidian armor, which offered strong boosts to summon damage and greatly increased his whip capabilities. Albert was now fully equipped to take on his next challenge, the evil force his friends had warned him about. Albert's friends had mentioned that this army of evil creatures could only be fought in a flat area. So Albert took to the skies and began building an area where he could face these enemies. While he was building, Albert stumbled upon a tavern keep, who happened to be the merchant his friends were looking for. With his battleground complete, Albert talked to the tavern keep and received the crystal he needed to defend. The tavern keep also offered Albert some tokens to help. Albert was able to purchase 2 new weapons, the explosive trap rod and the ballista rod. With these new weapons in hand, Albert was ready to face the threat. Now, Albert also wanted to help his friends for another reason. You see, the foe he was facing was the Old One's army, which were the guardians of some useful equipment Albert wanted. He wanted to get his hands on a squire's shield and an apprentice scarf, which both offered a 10% boost to summon damage and added an additional sentry summon. Albert also wanted to get a war table, which was a piece of furniture that would allow Albert an additional sentry summon. Albert inserted the crystal, summoning the Old One's army. The battle was tough, and unfortunately, Albert had misstrategized. He had failed at protecting the crystal. Albert had re-strategized, utilizing his Houndius Shootius for one of the portals. Albert was confident he can defeat the army. After defeating the second wizard, he realized the battle was over. He had successfully defended the crystal. Albert had collected his loot, and was happy to see that he had gotten an apprentice scarf, a squire's shield, and a couple war tables. Albert had successfully gotten everything he wanted and defended the crystal. But he still felt uneasy. Although he had temporarily beaten the army, he felt that they would be back. He knew that this defeat would only make the army grow stronger, and then at some point they would try to invade again. He would have to be ready. And to complete his set, Albert purchased the remaining 2 sentries from the Tavern Keep, the Lightning Aura Rod and the Flame Burst Rod, completing Albert's list of sentry weapons in the first part of his journey. Albert had completed 2 very important milestones in his journey, but he couldn't shake off the curiosity of what he had seen earlier. While traveling to the Corruption, he had stumbled upon an ominous dungeon. Albert was unsure who this old man was, or what he was doing in this mysterious dungeon in the middle of nowhere. Although he wasn't sure about the dungeon, he knew it was the next step in his journey. Boo! Aha, I'm just kidding. Hi, it's me. I just want to remind you that if you're enjoying, I would appreciate it if you subscribed. You can do so by clicking this little circle over here. And if you want to check out more, click on these other videos. Okay, bye.